The antique market, where time moves a little slower. In a world that moves at lightning speed, notifications, buzzing cities, pulsing with urgency, and trends shifting by the second, there still exists a place where time slows down. A place that seems to breathe in a different rhythm. That place is the antique market. Step into one and the noise of the modern world fades into a soft, nostalgic hum. The air is different here. You won't find the sleek glow of brand new gadgets or the aggressive cheer of sales banners. Instead, you'll find patina. You'll find weight. And above all, you'll find stories. Because the antique market doesn't just sell things, it sells time. Every object, a time capsule. To the casual eye, it might look like a mess. Tables crowded with weathered typewriters, chipped porcelain figurines, faded postcards, rusting tools, forgotten jewelry, and clocks that tick slightly out of sync. But to the regulars, this isn't clutter. This is history made tangible. That clunky rotary phone, it once sat in someone's living room, her teenage crushes turned into hushed midnight calls. That worn-out suitcase maybe it journeyed through war zones, crossed oceans, or carried someone's entire life packed into 20 kilos. And that dusty vinyl record, it might have once brought Ella Fitzgerald to life on a Sunday morning in 1955. Touching these items isn't like browsing a product. It's more like shaking hands with the past. You feel a quiet pulse running through them, evidence that someone once cared enough to keep them, use them, and pass them on. The people behind the stalls. What makes antique markets so fascinating isn't just what's on display. It's also who's behind it. The sellers at antique markets are not your typical vendors. Many are historians in disguise, storytellers by heart, and collectors driven more by passion than profit. Ask them about a vintage lighter or a war-era medal, and they'll probably give you not only the origin, but also an anecdote, perhaps romanticized, perhaps completely true, about who owned it and why it matters. Some are former artisans, retirees, or lifelong pickers who have spent decades rummaging through estate sales, flea markets, and abandoned barns. Others are younger folks drawn to the aesthetic or sustainability of vintage living. What unites them all is a deep reverence for objects that have already lived one or many lives. And make no mistake, this isn't just about nostalgia. It's about preservation. These people are cultural gatekeepers, archivists of the everyday. The shoppers more than just buyers. On the other side of the table are the seekers. Some come with a mission, looking for a specific item to complete a collection, restore a piece of furniture, or find something meaningful to gift. Others wander without purpose, guided by intuition and curiosity. There are vintage fashion hunters, indie filmmakers, sourcing props, old soul romantics, interior designers, and occasionally wide-eyed tourists, stumbling in by chance and walking out with an 80-year-old teacup and a story to match. And then there are those who come not to buy at all. They come to feel, to linger, to remember. Antique markets are strangely therapeutic in that way. In a society obsessed with what's new, fast, and efficient, they offer the opposite. They allow slowness, detail, imperfection, even decay. They whisper to us that not everything needs to be upgraded. Some things become more valuable because they age. Markets around the world, same soul everywhere. Whether it's a pop-up flea market in Brooklyn, the vast Marché aux Puces in Paris, the vintage bazaars of Istanbul, or a tucked-away alley in Hanoi or Saigon. The soul of an antique market is the same. It transcends language and geography. The smell of aged paper, the cool touch of old brass, the soft static from an antique radio, it all speaks to a shared human instinct, the desire to remember, to hold on to something real in an increasingly digital world. And what's beautiful is that no two markets are the same. One might specialize in war memorabilia, another in mid-century furniture, and another in obscure Soviet-era electronics. But the emotional pull, always familiar. More than objects, a philosophy of living. In many ways, antique markets offer an alternative philosophy of life. They challenge the myth that value comes from perfection or novelty. Here, a crack in a vase isn't a flaw, it's a feature. The faded spine of a book isn't damage, it's character. Objects here aren't sterile or soulless. They're warm with fingerprints, memories, and mystery. There's also something deeply sustainable in this way of living. In a throwaway culture, antique markets say, don't throw away. Fix it. Love it longer. Give it a second chance, or a third, or a 10th. This is not just consumerism, it's continuity. Final thought. A conversation between generations. When you walk through an antique market, you're not just browsing, you're participating in a quiet conversation across generations. You're touching what others have touched. You're seeing what others once saw as beautiful, useful, or important. You're inheriting stories you may never fully understand, but still carry forward in your own way. In a sense, you become part of the object's journey. And maybe, just maybe, one day someone will stumble upon an old notebook or camera you once used, and they too will wonder who you were, what your story was, and why you left that behind. You left that behind.